Good evening, people of God. I greet you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I trust that your 2022 is going well. I bless God for each and every one of you tuning in to this word. This word is just a dream I had last night or early this morning. And the Lord has asked me to bring it before you. This is not something I think about too much. I've seen headlines in passing concerning this, but it's not something I really have spent time thinking about. But the Lord has asked me to bring it before you. And I haven't recorded in a few days. I have a word. I have a word for us from the Lord. But after the last word I recorded, my device came under serious attack, and I'm just now getting a new battery and getting it back up and running. So I'll be releasing that word shortly in a couple of days as the Spirit of God leads. But to this dream, I had a dream early this morning, I believe it was. I had gone on a Christian retreat. It looked like a Christian retreat. I remember seeing at least one woman from a church I used to go to long ago. She was there, but it seemed like a Christian retreat. It was out in the, how do you call it? It was out in a woodsy area. It was beautiful. It seemed like it was up on a mountain, and people were just taking their own time. It was like we had lodgings, bunk beds, and stuff like that. But it was like a Christian retreat, and people were able to go out into the mountains and just pray and fellowship and just have a good time, enjoy nature and whatnot. So this one day, it was a sunny day, and we were out on the top of a mountain. There were flowers. We're just kind of walking around, enjoying the view. And then I started to notice military movements in the ravine below us. Um, in the in the ravine below the mountain, um, I started to notice troops in camouflage. They had their helmets on, and they were creeping. They were creeping. Um, and then I noticed among us an ex-Marine that I used to date many years ago, and he was among us. Now these were Marines. They were creeping. They were camouflaged in their BDUs. For those of you who don't know what BDUs are, their battle dress uniform. That's the uniform um, that looks like the woods. It's the uniform that has the same pattern as, it's supposed to camouflage you if you're in the forest or something like that. So they were dressed in that. They had helmets, they had their backpacks on, their boots, everything, and they were creeping in this valley under the mountain. And it seemed as though everybody else was oblivious to it, like I was the only one seeing this. So I went to this guy that I used to date many years ago, and I said to him, "I'm noticing troops. I see troops moving. I see people creeping in the valley under us." And he didn't look particularly surprised. He just kind of looked around. And before I could turn around, they were on us. Before I could turn around, they were on us. I mean, they had weapons drawn and everything. And there may have been about 50 of us on this retreat. Yeah, men, women. I don't remember. Yeah, I think there were a few children even. But before I could turn around, they were on us. I mean, they had weapons drawn and everything. And there were people that were running, and then there were people that just froze. And I saw them shoot a few people that had frozen in their tracks. And I ran and found a corner to hide in, near the building. and I just kind of lay low. I just laid there. And this guy must have seen me run to that corner and just lay low, because he came straight up to me and pointed this long cold weapon on the back of my neck. I could feel, even in the dream, I could feel the coldness of the barrel of the gun at the back of my neck. And in the dream, I was sure he was going to shoot. I was 95% sure he was going to shoot. And I was praying in my heart, in my spirit, and he withdrew the gun and I got up. He withdrew the gun and I got up. And the next thing I saw, we were all in the building. They had asked us to take our things out of the building. And some people were so afraid, especially people who had their children with them. They were so afraid, they just ran out of the building and just left all of their belongings in there. Now I took mine. I took mine. And the next thing I knew, we were lined up outside. And then from there, I saw us on a military base. I mean, tanks, military personnel walking up and down. We were being very closely watched. There was no way you could run away. We were on this base. And what I understood was that people were being forced um, to join the fighting forces in the Ukrainian conflict. Yes, the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. They had come up to this Christian retreat area and had hijacked the whole thing, the whole group, and taken us to a military base, and were forcing people to join the fighting forces. They were literally signing you up to join the fighting forces, and there were people that were declining. There were people that were saying no, they didn't want to join, and then they were taken somewhere else. And there's no telling what was done to them. I got the impression that some of them were being killed. I got the impression that those who agreed to go were hurriedly vaccinated, both shots, and were being prepared to ship out to the Ukrainian border. So, I am not going to interpret this. I don't have the interpretation as yet. Again, sometimes when you bring words, dreams like this, the first thing people tell you is, oh, well, maybe you were thinking about it, or maybe you watched a documentary about it. No, this is not something I've paid too much attention to. I've seen the headlines in passing. That's it. So those of you who have the gift of dream interpretation, perhaps the Lord might give you some insight. Let me know. But yeah, I live in West Africa, so I'm not paying too much attention to this. After I woke up from this dream, I called my prayer partner and explained the dream to her. And as we were talking about it, my whole screen went black. My screen literally scrambled and just went black. And I had to shut the phone off and restart it. And fortunately, it came back on. I've never seen my phone do that before, ever. So whether the conversation was being monitored, I don't know. When I finally got the phone back on and called her back, I finished telling her about the dream, and then we moved on to something else, and the phone was fine after that. It hasn't happened since then. But while we were talking about this dream, what happened in the dream, the phone just completely scrambled and the screen went black. So whether the conversation was being monitored, I don't know. Some of you know how these things work. I don't know. But this was a WhatsApp conversation. So yeah, I'll just leave it there, and perhaps the Lord will give one of you or me the interpretation to this. Until then, God bless you.